Everybody, I gotta get my microphone here. How's that? That's how this show goes sometimes. Last minute, often, right? Music Therapy Laz here. Welcome everybody. Once again, let's give you guys all an applause. We've got proof that we are live by the background noise you can hear of my. Let's see if I can get this boom out of the way. I wonder if I can do it so you don't see it. Not really. It's going to be there, and very soon, this thing's going to be right in front of me, with a microphone hanging right in front of my face, which is something I've been trying to avoid. I'm still having second thoughts about that. I might use a boom mic set up through the SSL board here. But welcome everyone to the Music is Therapy show, where today I'm going to talk about a wonderful subject on my end of the spectrum anyway. Spectrum. I love my mom, and I need a new battery. I mean, it's ending really quickly there. We've got a couple people in the chat already. I wasn't expecting there to be a big crowd here today because it is Mother's Day, and hopefully you guys are out spending the day with your moms, right? But our get-together is still a few hours away from now. We're getting together at a park nearby. It's not going to be super warm here. Lately, it's been nice, but it's going to cool down the next couple days, and it's going to be around 65 here today. And so it's not going to be super hot out there, but you know, hopefully it won't be windy or anything like that. I think there's a little bit of a storm coming through, but hopefully it's a clear, not too blustery of a day. And we'll spend it with my mom, Irene, who, if you looked at the that beautiful picture of the two of us in the show's thumbprint, or whatever the thumbprint, this thing. That's me and my mom, Irene, from back in the day, as they say. Let's see if we can get there we go. Back in the day, I think I was about 17 there. At that time, I was driving around my Hot Rod 69 RT Charger that she probably regrets. Maybe she doesn't regret getting, you know. She is such a wonderful person. She's done so many amazing things in her life. And let us kind of live our youth, you know, the way she never got to, right? So you know how some parents will do that? They're like, oh, my parents were way too strict, so I'm going to let them have free reign. That was my mom. Let the horses run wild in the field, pretty much. I mean, she kept us, the important things were always stressed, right? Like, be good to each other, take care of each other, always have each other's back. We're family. And, you know, treat your friends and other fellow human beings the way you'd want to be treated, right? And I think a lot of those early lessons, what she got out of her Catholicism, she almost became a nun, but then she realized, nah, they're not really going to be doing things the way that I think as a woman in the world I'd like things to be. So she rebelled and got married and all that stuff. But yeah, let's say hi to all the folks popping into the show here. We've already got 12 people here. So yeah, not a cloud there in Michigan and 70 degrees. That's nice. That's pretty much perfect weather, right? Cushman, Ryan's saying hi to Cushman. Everyone's saying hi to each other. What's up, dudes? And we got Searching for Tone. Steve, right? I think that's your name, right, Steve? I think. I'm bad about that kind of stuff. Names and things. But I think that's Steve there from Searching for Tone. He's been doing some great things on his channels. You know, he's doing things right, unlike me. He's doing things kind of the way I was thinking about doing them until I got all involved with Johnny Bean and doing all this live stuff. And the lives are a lot of fun, but he's doing like really good dedicated videos of demos and giving away guitars and doing all that stuff. That's a lot of fun. And I just don't have time for it. Even though I'd love to do it, I barely have time to do this. Then we got Cushman in from New York City, right? I'm assuming, right? Saying hi to his friends in the chat. And then we got Bay Area Rich, Rich, you're awesome. Anyway, Rich has kindly offered to take Johnny and I to see The Who. And I've got a story for you, but I don't know if I should tell the story here online or not. I could. I might as well, right? Why not? You know what? Let me get this light over here into a better position. I think it'd be more even. How's that? Right? So I got all these fancy lights and stuff. Then we've got no more of the torchlight thing. Uncle Raymond, of course. What's up, Raymond? Uncle to Amanda Peters, by the way, one of our favorite rising stars of art, music, and everything. She's working on some music. I think, I don't know if it's done yet, but I think they're working with music. Her and Bob Daisley of Ozzy Osbourne fame. You know, he wrote a lot of their biggest hits with Ozzy when they did, you know, the first albums with Randy, and then even successive albums. And then we've got Dan Gorman. I think I said hi to you too. Matt Stewart, Matthew Stewart. Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Mother Day greetings to everyone. And then Ryan Hall, first one in with his Mother's Day. I was always wondering, why did asterisk? You know, like mothers with a, you know, it's not like her. Is it? I guess that because it's hers, it's her day. But I always thought when you do the asterisk, it's like if you're saying that, you know, she is, like mothers, she is, right? Mothers are a mother. Yeah, I don't know. I always wondered, why do you have to put the asterisk there? But I guess you do. I'm not that much into the proper English stuff. So the Who, that's right. Who's on first? No, what's on second? No. We went into that last show. So today, of course, Mother's Day. So let's talk about our moms, right? What do you guys say? You guys want to tell me something about your mom? So I'll tell you a little bit about my mom. You know, she's lived a very interesting life, having immigrated to the United States as a refugee from Hungary during the '56 revolution against the communist, held country. Basically, they put in people, and there were particular party members of the Soviet Communist Party of Hungary that were Hungarians, of course, and that revolution was actually lost in big part due to two main factors, one of which was there was a traitor who gave up, positions and a lot of important knowledge to the Russians that allowed the Russians to just come right in with their tanks and bomb everything until bomb the whole country into submission again. But they were free for 2 weeks. The second reason was that pretty much all the free world nations said, hey, if anyone stands up to Russia, we'll back you, and nobody backed them. So I'm happy to see, Ukraine being backed right now, because it was a similar situation, not in the same, like they're being attacked right now, as if there was a revolution, because that ended in the late 80s, early 90s. Soviet bloc was falling apart, in large part due to the people's just inability to trust the system anymore. They just knew after Chernobyl and digging into more things that, this system is not really all that good, and maybe we need something else. And so they were looking to the West and to others, and we opened arms, but, they had to compete as well. And so it made things really, really difficult competing in a world that is so competitive, right? When it comes to, we see it right now, all the competition going on, and I hope for peace, and I hope for people to try to find ways to diplomatically work out their differences and trade and all these things, try to find a way to work together. But there are always people out there looking to take advantage, and they do, right? And that's where we see a lot of the strife and a lot of the troubles. Rico B, what's up, dude? Saying hi to everyone here. Aloha, right? Aloha, my friend. I hope you're in Hawaii. I haven't been to Hawaii since I was 12. It's one of the places I keep skipping somehow. Maybe one of these summers we'll do it. We're going to Peru again at the end of the summer, in early October or mid-October. Somewhere around mid-October, we're leaving for Peru again for a couple weeks to visit my sweetie's mom. She's getting up there in age too, so we're making regular yearly visits, if not more. Sometimes she goes twice, and that's a lot of money to do that, on a teacher's salary. But yeah, Ian's guitar, or no, not, I thought it was Ian's guitar channel. We changed it again. Ian's channel now. What's up, Ian? But yeah, this summer, and speaking of the devil, here we go. We got L&M Guitar Corner, Martin, just coming from watching El Clásico, not in the stadium, unfortunately. Oh, so that was, I guess, a soccer match, right? Or what they call foosball in European and other parts of the world outside of America. But yeah, I hope you had a nice time with your mom. We met Martin's mom with family. We were in Europe and we visited Austria, and Martin was very gracious. I owe you big time, dude. You were overly gracious, so I can't wait till you visit me next, or I visit you next, because I'm going to pay you back. Maybe with some LPD pedals. We talked about that. I don't think shipping them makes sense. So next visit. And speaking of next visit, hint, I'm going to try to make this happen. I can't guarantee it's going to happen, but I've already threw the feelers out to my good friend Henning Pauly. You notice his signature guitars right there. There's one. That's his first ever HB42 Harley Benton Henning Pauly 42 Studios guitar right there. And then that's his signature, if you want to call it signature. It's more the spec, the Valiant Spec Smith. I wanted a Strat style one, but I'm kind of much more glad that I got the Les Paul style single cut. That one right there. That one's very, very, very nice guitar. But yeah, so I threw some feelers out to Henning. Hey, I might try to crash HP42 Studios this year, but that means I'll have to travel to Europe. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to see my daughter. So I was throwing the feelers out to her too, that, hey, would you want to go to this music event? We'll fly to Frankfurt from Budapest, and we'll rent a car. We'll stay a few nights at some nearby inn, castles and whatnot all around, right? And we'll spend some time bonding and getting to know each other better, and spending some time, because she's older now. She's doing her master's program in her first year at Budapest's Corvinus University, a fantastic university, by the way, one of the best. And in Hungary, it's definitely the top. And it's right there on the Danube, so it's beautiful, picturesque, almost kind of Hogsworth or whatever it's called kind of place. You know, she grew up in like really the magical land, and she's doing really well, and seems really happy, but she's always really, really busy. And so trying to nail her down for more than like a day or so in the summer between you know, her friends and school coming and all this stuff, and she's working for the university now as well. So there's all this stuff going on, you know. It's hard to pull her away for a few days or a week. So I'm trying to see if I can talk her into joining me on a trip to Henning's Gear Street and hanging around with a bunch of musicians, you know, because she's a musician as well. So am I doing your keyboard demo this morning? No, but I'm gonna do an unboxing for you guys, because originally this morning I thought I might do today's show on ASMR, and what is ASMR all about, and how does that affect us when it comes to music related ASMR, and then what's up with the ASMR when it comes to like unboxings and why are unboxings so, you know, why do people want to see it and hear it? They want to hear that. They want to hear this. They want to hear this. Watch this. I'm going to do this. They want to hear this part. They want to hear the tape getting cut. They want to hear, right? They want to hear that. They want to hear it. They don't want to just see it. They want to hear it. My grandfather always said, "Don't cut toward you, lads," but I'm doing it, Grandpa. Even though you're watching from up far. Let me pull this out of the way. There we go. But we got something in the mail. It's a white box. Some of you might recognize the shape. Maybe if you've been paying attention lately to the hottest new pedal on the market. Okay. Oh, you're getting a little sneak peek. It is the dun dun dun. Where is that thing? Apparently it's not a dumble. But it does do a really cool thing, and for $120, that's not bad, right? Can't complain. And even though I spent an extra $13 to get it in 2 days, it didn't get to me for a week. So a little disappointed in USPS, but I can understand why. There's all kinds of stuff happening there. So that's what you get on the inside of the box. Look at the box. Isn't that cool? Scan this for full instructions on how not to do it wrong. And I love Josh at JHS and his whole crew there, the whole team, man, they're amazing. And then he has his kids involved in the videos, and his son. He's the best. Anyway, you get the instrucciones here, right? And how to use pliers, all that kind of stuff. So it's basically set up so that you don't have to read anything. And then if you want to goop, you even get some goop to goop, right? So let's show you the rest of the stuff because everyone wants to hear this, right? There you go, the ASMR. You get your papers, Show me your papers. And then you've got little parts here that you need, right? You got more parts. The knobs. It's all about the knobs. Look at them knobs. Wow. Let's get the light on the knob. Look at the knobs. And then we've got the goop, of course. All right. And I don't know what that is. Oh, I have some of these from before when I went to when I saw JHS at NAM. But I got a bunch of these. I've given them away, most of them, right? One of the little pins, as they call it, right? And then we got the goop, and of course I'm gonna goop mine, but I don't know how yet. So you guys can give me some suggestions in the comments after the show in the comment section. How should I goop it, right? And then there is basically you don't have to do any soldering. It even comes with built-in wrenches and stuff. You just crack off of the board there, and then here's the enclosure. Oh yeah, you got the ASMR there. And then, okay, here's the last of the ASMR, peeling the tape off. Now, this isn't like a bubble wrap. Right? ASMR. But here it is, the JHS pedals. Not a dumble. In Hungarian, that would be nota dumble, but the E wouldn't have dots. It would just have like either nothing or a little asterisk above it, like a little accent. So not a dumble. So not a dumble, but it is a pedal. And it's a dumble-like pedal. So should have gotten 2 of these, right? Should have got one of these for you, right? Martin, maybe I should still get one for you, right? By the time if I do go out there, if you want one, let me know. I can get you one of these, or I can get you, I think you told me you don't really need any of the other pedals by our friend Lawrence Petros. By the way, if I had the time to actually sit down and learn guitar, I'd probably call that guy up and say, "Can you teach me, Lawrence?" Because he's the man. Anyway. So I did get this knife, by the way, my unboxing knife from my friend Ryan up there in the chat, Ryan Hall. Look at that. It's a California knife. And someday he's going to send me a sword when he has time, but he's busy with his mom and stuff. Check that out. I don't know if that's legal. But I have one now. Thank you to Ryan. All right, let's see what the chat has to say here, and then we'll talk about moms. I have one other thing I can show you guys, but maybe I'll wait till Thursday on that. Yeah. Yeah, see, he's totally happy with everything he owns. But do you have a dumble? Do you want a dumble pedal? I mean, it just takes your Fender style or Marshall style amps to that next level. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. More on the way, says Ryan. Oh my God. Okay, thanks, dude. I'm sure now that your mom's feeling better, you're able to probably do some things, right? I saw you put up a new video. That was a fun song. Ryan does some of the coolest like covers of songs. Oh, by the way, see that chair right there? Oh, somebody gave that to me. Johnny's at the cafe. I knew you'd be busy, dude. It's all good. I'm just gonna write. It's good. It's cool. It's all good. It's all good, my friend. Yeah, Mother's Day is a tough day to try to get together with people. We were joking just a couple days ago that I kept messaging him accidentally instead of my sweetie, thinking that I was, because we both use WhatsApp. My wife and I use WhatsApp more because I can't get a decent phone signal in my apartment anymore because the 5G on my phone is interfered by the 5G on my Wi-Fi tower. That's what I discovered is the problem. So we use WhatsApp because there's no interference. Is that crazy? Anyway, yeah, he does great covers, right? Searching for Tone. That's right. Yeah, that's coming soon. I know you're gonna have plenty of time then, right? You're gonna be just sitting in a bed, your leg up. I'm just kidding. Anyway, hopefully it goes well. Hey, you're up with Marcel. Marcel, look at that, saying good day to me in Hungarian. That's very cool that did you translate that, or do you know a little Hungarian? Because I would be rather not shocked, but I don't know, surprised for sure that you would know Hungarian, because Hungarian is a difficult language. You either grow up with it, or even then, good luck. So he says he does not need that sound. Yeah, so you've got your own sound. You're lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones who has found my tone and loves it and is not on the search for anymore. My problem is that I'm not looking just for my tone. I'm looking for all kinds of tones and sounds, because one of my life's dreams has always been to write music for movies and big thematic things, like, kind of like what was that guy, Mr. Holland, Mr. Holland's Opus. I'm one of those guys that wish that he could make a life in music, but because of the way the music industry is so tough, and I never wanted to live on the road and be playing in bars all the time and stuff. I'd rather be that guy. If I ever got the classical training, I would have been happy to be a classical musician and teaching and that kind of thing. I have a friend of mine, Steve, my good friend Anastasia's husband, who plays for the San Francisco Symphony. He's a double bass, player, one of the prima bass players, right? Nice, super, super cool guy. Anyway, Steve's living the life, travels the world playing music in the symphony, and he lives in the same town. He doesn't have to do a lot of traveling, but when they travel, it's wonderful travel. He teaches children and adults music. I mean, I should have done that. But it's okay. What I ended up, everyone has their own path in life, and where I ended up and how I ended up here, I can't complain. I mean, look around you, right? And this is a lot of this, by the way, not easy to make this happen. And a lot of what you see around me cost quite a bit of money. I didn't invest in my future retirement, for example, as much as I've invested into all this gear. And maybe I'll pay the price for that in some way in the future, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping this is just an investment into this growing YouTube experience, and hopefully I can grow this into something that, outside of my other business ideas that I have, like these things, the sound trap guitar hangers, right? Sound panels that you can hang your guitar on, but are artistic and cool and stuff. So yeah, there's things like that I'm trying to bring about as a way of making some money outside of what I do in construction and property management and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, the other thing I've had interest in is, I'm doing this show, the Music is Therapy show, because I went back to school in my 40s in 08, when everything was falling apart. I thought, what am I going to do now? And, I got to do something else. I was in sales then, and working as a sales executive for a firm that dealt in online leads and stuff, kind of like Zillow and all those for properties, and because I was a mortgage lender before that. So I started to learn a lot about that side of the business. I have a degree in business as well. Now I have a transferable site degree and associates in arts degree, which is basically a social science degree. And did a lot of classes in 2-year college, right? The community colleges here in California are very good. And never had the time and money to finish. It's like, do I want to take on $100,000 of loans? I don't know about that. Not at my age, So the bottom line is, I've got a lot of knowledge, but I don't have necessarily the degrees or certifications to be working in that field. But at some point, as I find myself finding more time towards retirement, I'm going to dig more deeply into that and get even more involved in, like, those kinds of organizations, like the Guitars for Vets and other veterans and music, music therapy related type of treatment. And I'd like to get certified for that kind of thing at some point. Hey, T-Fetch, what's up, man? What's up, dude? So, like, that was a great movie, wasn't it? Mr. Holland's Opus. And I'm kind of like that guy, that frustrated musician who never got to make it. But I'm not angry. Like, he got angry by the end of it. He was very frustrated and upset. But they all showed him how much of a difference he made in their lives. And as you know, Edward Van Halen's favorite charity is the I think it's the Mr. Holland's Opus, or Mr. Holland's. It's some kind of charity. So check it out. It's basically giving money to schools for music programs that, like, his got cut. right? Let me take a sip of coffee here. By the way, Glenn, I love you, man. I met Glenn at Headings a few years ago, and I always wanted to meet him because you know he's a nice guy and he's a really great guy. But his channel comes across it's very disruptive, and that's something he came on to very early on. He was really smart, and his channel's been doing pretty well. And I'm really glad to hear that his wife has recovered fairly well. I think much better than he thought. She's a very strong woman, obviously helps him be who he is too, right? We have women in our lives, like our moms. We should talk about that, right? Who are very important in our lives when it comes to making us the men we are, right? So, quick little sip there. But yeah, so let's talk about moms. What do you guys say? What are you guys saying? So I met Martin's mom here. There you go. Yeah, and I think you got a lot of really good tutelage there, Martin, from some of your heroes that you met at some of these guitar shows, right? Because they basically gave you the confidence to just be you and find your sound. And I think that's awesome. I mean, there are sounds and tones that I love that are my tones too, that I love. There are certain things that I'm always looking for or going for. And you'll see me do that when I'm at a guitar store or whatever. If there's, I got to do more videos like that, right? When we go into the platinum room and we're jamming out there like we did the other week with Alex and my buddy Brent. Brent, where are you? You're at your mom's, right? Anyway, our buddy the Magic Man, who's now no longer the Octopus Ears or General Admission. He's back to being the Magic Man, which I really like that name the best, actually. He is the Magic Man. Woo! All right, that's why I don't sing. So my late wife was, okay, we go, some mom talk. My late wife was born and raised in Turkey, but she was 4 before she spoke English. She had a Turkish nana. There you go. Very cool. Hungarians and Turkish people have quite a bit in common. Did you know that the Turks invaded Hungary and occupied Hungary for nearly 150 years? The Ottoman Empire, right? And so we have some similar. We call each other. They call us their brothers, which is really kind of cool. I know a lot of Hungarians don't think of it that way, but at the same time, that's because they have a very strong-rooted Catholic upbringing. For the most part, Hungary was for the longest time over 70% Catholic. So when you think about it, the Ottoman Empire was trying to bring everyone into Islam. That's why they were doing their crusade of sorts, right? And the fine young Turks, hey Ed, what's up? Ed Dana, James G, what's up, James G? Yeah, so we have a lot in common with Turkish people, especially the food, and as a matter of fact, Hungarians were nomadic tribes that went around Europe quite a bit. You've heard of Attila the Hun, right? The Hungarian. Hungarians went as far north as Finland and actually influenced the language there. The Hungarian language is called a Finno-Ugrian because of that language branch. It has no connection to Latin or anything like that, or Slavic languages either. The Hungarians were in that region of the northern steppes, when you go further east of Europe and north of Turkey and eastward toward India. So I think there even is some Asian influence in some way, because on some Hungarians, you could see it in the DNA, right? It's kind of interesting. But and then you go see Russians and Hungarians, and there's some similarity in appearance as well from the northern parts of, that's not Asia, but the northern parts of Europe, if you want to call that. That's basically Russia, right? But the Urals, I guess, is that what it's called? The Urals, the mountains? Anyway. But the Hungarians found their way into the Carpathian Basin and just took it over. And there we are still. A lot smaller of a country now than it was 100 years ago, but we're still there. Anyway, yeah, we invented the goulash. That's right. Actually, the proper pronunciation is gulyás, but it's spelled with a ly, which in Hungarian makes a soft J sound. So yeah, like ya, like a Y. So it's actually gulyás. That's the proper. Yeah. So mom. So let me tell you guys a story about my mom. There's a lot of stories. But she came here when she was 12 with her mom and dad. They were in a refugee camp in Europe. I think the Czech Republic, if I'm correct. But they made their way around because they escaped through the southern border of Hungary into, I guess it's wow, what is it, Serbia, right? So somewhere they arrived at a refugee camp, and they were there for a good year or so, getting processed. Because before they let you into America, they want to find out, are you a spy? What's going on? Why are you coming to America? But my grandfather and my grandmother have very strong roots and old roots in Hungary, and so it probably didn't take very long for them to figure out, even with all the communism and all the information, they're being pretty tight. Hard to get information. Um, they had friends in Hungary. They had family friends of sorts elsewhere in Germany and other places too. And so I think they got the good word at whatever point to make it to the States, and they decided to come to San Francisco because they had a little backing here, and that helped. You know, some kind of sponsorship, right? You have to have some kind of sponsorship. So they made it to the San Francisco Bay Area. My grandfather actually, grew up on farmlands that they owned, and so did my grandmother's family. They lived in a beautiful area of Hungary called Baja, which has the Tisa and the Shivovica River come together there, and so it's very fertile agricultural land, as Hungary is very much like that. It's a big valley surrounded by mountains, right? So it's very fertile agricultural land, and because of some of the volcanic action or whatever, around there, the volcanic mountains there's still a lot of hot springs around there that are supposedly magically medicinal and all this, and I think it has a lot to do with the minerals that your body absorbs when you're in those medicinal baths. But bottom line is, they came from a family that were farmers, and my grandfather was like a butcher. He became an expert butcher and could make the best Hungarian sausages. So when he came to the Bay Area, he became very well known very quickly. Was quite a strong leader, because in his family, in my grandmother's family, they were educated people in Hungary. They weren't just farmers, but they owned farmlands, and one was an architect who built a hotel there. That's a historical site in the town square there. When we went there, we talked with the people at the hotel, and they're like, "Oh, no kidding, you're from America, but your family?" Well, like, yeah, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, yeah," and it was really, really cool. So it's really nice to be able to go back home there. And as a matter of fact, they have another very famous dish in Hungary called the halászlé, which is the fisherman's stew. So it's basically a fish stew, and people would come from all over Europe to visit Boya for the fish stew event. They'd have their yearly festival. Now it's kind of no longer as big as it used to be, from what I hear, but yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. So my mom has a very interesting history, having come from Hungary, escaping with her mom and dad, in the cloak of darkness, with rebel people helping them get across the border at the very real chance of being shot, and made it all the way to America, where she learned English here, went to school, and I've got some photos of her. Should I show you some photos? Got more photos. So this is one of me and my mom, more recent. So this is how she basically looks nowadays. And this is in my brother John's kitchen. She lives at my brother John's place. And that's my mom right there. Now, she gave me her eyes. So she's got these greenish kind of, let me show you her eye. It's her eye. I got the same eyes as her, the greenish, kind of not brown, but greenish, but a little bit of a brown around. Hers can get a little bit more bluish at times too. And my daughter Hannah has the kind of bluish green thing in her eyes. Let me show you some more. But some more stories about her is that, she was almost going to be a nun in the Catholic Church, but then decided against it. And then later in life, married my dad. I think my mom, she was a pretty outgoing person, even though she might say when she was young she was probably kind of introverted in some ways. I don't know. I think she's a pretty outgoing person. She really stood her ground, when it came to what she believed in and what she thought was right, and is never apologetic about her stance on things. Here's a picture of our whole family back in the day. That's my dad and my mom on the left there. My dad there, that was when he was bodybuilding, so he was getting pretty buff with the big gray tie. And that's me that he's got his hand on because he's got to control me. I'm kidding. And that's my mom there in the suit kind of thing. At that point, I think she was starting to study a little bit about sales, and she was doing Amway. So there she is. And then that's her brother, was her brother's daughter, Suzanne, my Uncle Joe, who passed away, and his wife, Julia, next to him. My mom's sister, Mary, and her husband, Art, who was he liked to impersonate Elvis at the Hungarian events. And then that's all of his cousins except for one, Joe, who wasn't quite born yet. He wasn't born until 1980. And there we are. Happy Hungarian family, right? My grandmother there, she was always my champion when it came to all the musical stuff. There's my mom and my dad on their wedding day. Look at that. My dad was a styling dude. Check him out. Anyway, I got some great shots. Oh, okay, here's the family there on the wedding day there. There you go. My mom there. She liked to do the red hair. That wasn't natural, and there's my mom and my dad, young couple. Look at them. Sorry, I'm showing my dad in your pictures while I'm on Mom's Day, but I don't have a lot of photos of you. Let's see if you can find. All right, there's my mom with her mom, and that's me, my grandmother, holding my hand, and that was at one of my auntie's birthdays. What am I saying? Weddings. A lot of these old photos, unfortunately, are a little blurry because I took pictures of the photos that are already starting to wane, right? And I'm pretty sure my grandmother and them, they sewed their own clothing for all these events. Let's see, find some more. All right, so I'm gonna take my dad out of this one. There's my mom. There's my mom with my sister Monica, who's also a mom. Two moms. There's my mom. And then, you want to see my little devilish smile in that picture? There I am. With the alfalfa thing. The cowlick, as they call it, right? Oh, my God. Yeah, there's some great photos of her in here. Find a couple more. So my mom, after she started to do the Amway thing, because before that, she did a lot of work with my grandmother, her mom. They sewed. And my grandmother was a really good seamstress, and there's my grandmother there. Irene as well. There is a common thread here with and there's me. This is when I was about 18, just about turning 18 or so. I think that was Christmas that year. The long hair. Thought it was cool. Anyway, find some more. So there were some interesting stories about my mom. Like, I didn't even know until only a few years ago, that my mom went to the last Beatles concert ever here in Candlestick Park. Is that crazy? And she never told me about it. Knowing I'm a huge Beatles fan and a music fan, she never talked to me about this stuff. She was always more talking about not herself, but other things that were important. That she felt were important, and that tells you something about my mom. I guess I get a lot of my sense of community service and all that from my grandmother, and especially my mom. They were both very involved in community, but for sure my mom was a very, still out there protesting, advocating for what's right, and trying to make the world a better place. That whole thing, It's not all just politics either. A lot of times it's about, what's right or wrong. She was very involved in helping people, work with the Red Cross, established a few Red Cross stations in California, and involved in events like our Hungarian Heritage Foundation. She helped out every year. She helps out with the decorating and stuff like that. So that's her. I don't know who the guy is in the background there, but anyway, and always helps me out. Her cousin Sylvia, who I had a great time with the first time I visited Hungary when I was 12, runs that whole thing for the most part. And I can tell you this: if our family wasn't around, I don't even know if that event would go on, because some of the key players like myself are involved in making that show happen. Here I am with the band that came from Seattle and Vancouver, Washington. They get together and I'm there doing the sound. That's where I usually sit by the stage, and I've got my setup. I got a mic up. I get helpers, but now I've got so much help now. I don't even have to do this as much. This last year, another Laszlo, and some other helpers were running the sound here, while I got to help the ladies with the puppet show with the kids, which was a lot of fun. So now it's all digital. But yeah, fantastic event that we have every year. We didn't do it this year. Normally it would be this weekend. It would have been yesterday. But everyone, my brothers and sisters are asking for the address to today's get together, even though John sent it to them weeks ago. They could figure it out. Back to the photos. But my mom, I didn't even know, was not really a hippie, but she was a wannabe hippie. She smoked. She still smokes cigarettes. And when I say wannabe hippie, is that because her family was so strong, traditional Hungarian Catholic and all, I don't think she could really get away with doing like what my daughter here is doing. My daughter's here singing in a rock and roll band in Budapest. There she is. So Hannah rocking the mic, right? And I tell you what, man, she can sing. I'm really hoping that I can get her to come with me to oh, here's another picture of my mom. This is a very recent photo I took over her. So really hoping I can talk her into coming to Hennings with me. There she is. When she graduated first round of college, 4 years, I got her this. I gave her my D'Angelico guitar that I actually bought for her. When I bought that guitar, the first thought was, man, this blue guitar with the gold parts, it's going to be perfect for Hannah. Maybe someday she'll learn to play the guitar. So there she is. Hannah, I hope you don't mind me showing your picture. Here's a cuter one of you when you're little. I'm kidding. Little baby Hannah. Anyway, she'll be a mom someday, I'm sure of that, because she's such a loving person. I can't imagine her not bringing a child into this world. So I'm sure she will if she can. If she meets the right guy, which is not easy these days, right? Not easy. It took me 50 years almost to find the right woman. Not that my ex and I, it was the wrong thing. I think it was meant to be the way it was, Didn't work out. But maybe that was how it was supposed to happen. And I kind of knew it too. It's kind of weird when I look back on that time. So out to you too, Vivian. Thank you for being a wonderful mother to my daughter, Hannah, and doing the best that you could all those years, even though, you had your challenges in life and problems and demons and all that stuff to deal with, right? And I also have to throw a shout out to my sweetie, because my sweetie, we tried to have children together. It didn't work out. She tried before too with the previous husband. And I think she's meant to be mom to lots of children, because she works at a Montessori school, and she's the super mama who, for 6 to 8 hours a day, depending on if she's doing a full 8, usually nowadays it's a 6-hour day, she's a super mom to all the other moms out there, helping them raise children. There she is at a wedding that we were at together in recent years, a couple of years ago. That's my sweetie. Lucky to have her in my life. And otherwise I'd end up like this with some goat. Had to do that. I had to there. But we're all surrounded by very powerful moms. My internet's playing around. I hope I came back. Here she is when she was still in Hungary, probably right before they came out to the United States. So in the mid-70s, she divorced my dad. I think, just basically, she wanted to live her life, the way she felt she could, and she should be able to, and could, and did. And I think she lived it for quite a bit. She was really happy. I remember how happy she was when she was the free-spirited Irene, working for herself as a realtor, and just taking on the world, and that was very inspiring to watch as a 12-year-old, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. By the time I was around 14, that's when things were slowly starting to go down, and when it came to the real estate market in the 80s crashed. There was that thing called Black Monday, and we had a massive real estate market crash. And so things really, turned in a bad direction during the Reagan era, the whole Reaganomics thing, the trickle down economics thing. That's a total failure of an idea. Pretty much why we're suffering from what we're suffering from right now, but that's a long story. Look into a really interesting recent kind of podcast discussion by PV. Or no, it wasn't PV. It was Dean Guitars. He did a podcast and he talks about what wrecked his business that was flourishing until the Reaganomics thing happened, and we're still kind of paying for that, and it's still happening. But bottom line, it is what it is. It's not politics, it's facts. But yeah, the sausages are the best. I know. There's a joke in there. Thanks, you guys. So another story about my mom, and then I'll see. Do you guys have any stories you want to share in the comments here? Let's see. Martin, thank you, brother. Surgery. Yeah, I'm praying for your surgery too, man. I'm hoping that your surgery goes well. So in recent years, my mom did help a lot with her children and grandchildren. So at a certain age, she wasn't needing to, take care of us. So she was able to then take care of herself and other family members, like my grandchildren. So her grandchildren, mine, hers. I don't have grandchildren yet, but Hannah, get to it. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Anyway. I'm gonna eat crow for that later. Anyway, no, she would. Anyway, the bottom line is that my mom is always helping others. She's very selfless, spends a lot of her energy and time, and works a lot of the time when she's working so she can help other family members that are struggling to make it in life today, right? Hey, William De Silva, what's up? Yeah, well, yeah, they both did the same ideas. Anyway, but I'm not going to say, like I said, it's not a politics thing, because both parties, it's not about party. All of these people sold us out to, greed and power, and that's what it is. We need to take it back. The people need to take it back, but it's not going to be an easy haul, you guys. It's going to be super tough to make America great again, right? I think it's gonna take not leaders, but for leaders to start looking to us for ideas and answers, because I think we the people are the real leader of the country. It's our country, and they're supposed to be doing what we want them to do. That's what it's supposed to be, right? A republic, a democracy of sorts, right? But we also have to be responsible, folks, right? That's something my mom taught me, is whatever mistakes you might make in life, son, realize you're responsible for your decisions. So if you decide to go this way, you decide to do that, love you, just realize what the consequences might be. Think about it. And, and then whether people agree with you or not, stay true to yourself. If that's what your decision is, then, and you have your reasoning, if it's in your mind reasonable, then you need to back it up with your action and make it happen, right? And a lot of times we do things like the studio thing might be the most stupidest idea ever, financially, right? But maybe it'll pay off. Maybe what I'm doing here is ultimately realizing my full potential, not just as a music producer, which is something I am not. I'm planning to do some music production. I've always dreamed of producing music on a certain scale and level, and I am a bit of a perfectionist to some degree. I get that from my dad. And the thing is that at some point, hopefully, I live to see the day where I'm actually doing with the studio what I dream of doing outside of doing these kinds of shows. Because I think this is important too. I have a very strong desire to be advocate and social activist of some sort. In other words, our connections, the internet. Ugh, I think it's because I don't pay full price for StreamYard anymore. StreamYard. But the bottom line is that if you guys can hear me, the bottom line is that I've always felt a very strong desire to be a social activist and advocate for people and try to help people connect with each other and find their commonalities and work towards solutions to problems that are occurring around them in their personal lives and otherwise. And we can all help each other. I try to help out people when I can. Anyone out there that's ever reached out to me knows that I'll be there if you need me for something. But yeah, I think that comes a lot from my mom's personality, her character. I get a lot of that from her. Hey, thanks, Marcel. Yeah, hit that like button. How many likes do we have? Let's see. I never really count these things too much, but they do matter. So I do totally appreciate it when you guys hit that like. Let's see. Let me refresh. I got to do the refresh. Otherwise, it's not giving me the real numbers. The refresh. I got Johnny Beans right there at the top of my list. Let's see. Yeah, we got 13 watching and 8 likes. All right, let's raise those likes, you guys. And for a Mother's Day Sunday, I really appreciate all you guys that are here. 13, that's awesome. Of course, everyone wants to have hundreds of people watching, but we'll get there, right? And I'm slowly climbing. I've got 905. I've passed the 900 mark. Solid past the 900 mark on the subscribers. So I don't know if you guys know how important reaching 1,000 is. It's not just a number to me. I think there are more things that you're able to do, and the algorithms and all that stuff pay more attention to you when you hit that level. But I also realize there are things I need to do better, like membership and all this stuff, get this stuff all straightened out and do merch and do other things like other channels that grow. They have a lot more interaction and involvement with you guys, and I'm trying to bring that more into the show. By the way, if you do want to be on the show or want to hang out or talk or have me chat with you on one of these shows, whether it's this one or the Thursday night show, whichever works for you timing wise. And that's why I do these two shows. I do this one in the morning here in California. It's at 10 o'clock midday in the East Coast, and there are still people in Europe like Martin who are able to hang out in here. And then you've got the evening show on Thursday night, the Gear and Demo show, where I demo stuff like this. Is a new strap that I'm going to show you guys. Yeah. Anyway, sneak peek. Oh, I got the full laugh all the way through. The battery's working all the way through. So building the studio and doing this, it's been a long road to this point, and I'm nearly there. And at some point I'll do that keyboard demo too, the Seaboard Rise 2 I'm looking at right there in the box from Roly, which is an amazing keyboard. But yeah, Ryan, right, 1,000, here we come. Help me get to 1,000. I will give away a guitar. I am not kidding. There'll be something cool that we'll do. We'll probably get one of those Kramers or something. It depends on who wins it, what they want. Because we could either do some kind of a Strat thing, or we can do like a Super Strat thing, or we can do some kind of a single or double cut hollow body thing. There's all these kinds of guitars out there that are available now still at a reasonable price. And I think the used market is also going to be really strong in the coming year. There's so much used gear out there right now. It's nuts. That's why I haven't really jumped on selling any of my gear. Like we've talked about the purge several times, and it just doesn't make sense to me to purge things when I don't have to, and I'd just be losing money doing it. So I'd rather, if I'm gonna sell things, I want to be responsible, with what assets I have, right, and sell them at a price that I can get, at least break even, if not a little bit better. My buddy Ryan here, as a matter of fact, helped with that because he did get one of my guitars. So he did pay me. He did pay me for the thin line Telecaster that I sent to him. I hope you don't mind me talking about it, Ryan. It's really cool, and I think he did one song so far with it. So keep playing that thing. That thing's an awesome guitar. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, so what happened? They not anymore. They reduced all of this right after we hit 1,000 back. I'll be honest, felt a little trolled by YT back then. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, when we get there, I'm hoping it makes a difference. But whatever, it's just a number, but it's not. It's like an accomplishment of sorts, like getting to that level. I think it does matter. And I know, like I said, I have a responsibility to you, the subscribers and the viewers out there, to raise the level. So right now I'm still using this mic, even though I have another mic. I got to hook it up. I got to have everything set up here the way I want it. So I could just hook it up through the SSL here and just do it like that. But I'm too much of a perfectionist, I guess. I have this vision of how I'm going to have this all set up here, and I want to accomplish that. And it takes a lot of time and stuff, and some more money too. So selling some gear to get that stuff would be one way to get some more of that money. And I did make a deal when it came to with my wife. I'm like, look, I'm going to do it the Phil McKnight way from now on. If something new comes in, something's got to go out. So Johnny, the only way this thing's ever going to leave my leave my studio, if that thing ever goes into your hands, the only way that's going to happen is if something else replaces that. You know what I mean? Of equal quality. So yeah, I've got to be a little bit more. How would you put it? Like my mom would probably say, be a little bit more reasonable, with how you're spending your money on some things, right? Be careful. So yeah, we're almost at the end of it here. Another 3 minutes left. I started the show dead on this time, right on time. How about that? I'm going to try to keep that rolling. So what else is there here? Yeah. Oh, he says talk about it. Okay. Yeah. There you go. So, the thing about that guitar is that a lot of times my guitar purchases or how I get guitars they're an emotional attachment of sorts, right? There's like either a circumstance that happened or a situation under which I was able to get them. And there's something special about each one to me. So it's hard for me to let any of them go because, I have an emotional attachment to them. That one I didn't. Oh, okay, right on, man. So that guitar, that G&L ASAT Classic Thin Line, is a really nice guitar. The color is a natural over the ash, right? Solid ash body. Really, really nice. To get an ash body like that, swamp ash like that, it's harder to get nowadays too. So to me, I thought that was a really good guitar, and for around $500 price range, what they go for used, I think now, right? I'm not sure how much they were new when that one came out. Hey, Alex, what's up? My brother, what's happening? Right on. That's awesome, dude. Have a great day with your mom. Give her my love and tell her that I think you're the greatest son. And Alex is a great guy, you guys. Anyway, we had a great time at the Giants game a few weeks ago with Brent, and walk-off win too against the Rangers, Texas Rangers. So that was a great game. Yeah, but yeah, my mom, like many of you, where would we be? We wouldn't even be if it wasn't for our moms. So our moms are very important to us. Don't forget to show, your mom your love today, and whether she's still in your life or not, whatever good, bad memories you have, because I have some bad ones too. There were times when I was like, Mom, God, but I love her for every single thing that she's done for me in my life. And a lot of times those things that kind of upset you are the things that you reflect back on and go, yeah, she was right. Aren't they always right? Isn't that Makes you crazy sometimes, but no, I'm really glad I have my mom in my life still. She's going to be 70 next January, so 69 this year, right? And I think, right, Mom? You didn't hit 70 yet, did you? I think she's going to be 70 next January. I'll be 60 next year in June. So I'm going to be the big 60. So it's going to be a party. Definitely. This year is going to be low key. My wife and I are going to go to Napa. That's what we're talking about. We're going to just go hang out in Napa again. Like we did last year. We went to the Randy Rhoads Vineyards. not That's not what they're called, but Randy Rhoads' sister, husband, they have a winery. And anyway, we went and got some of that Randy Rhoads wine. So maybe on the way back, we'll go by there and get another bottle, that stuff, right? But for sure, next year is going to be the big 60. I'm gonna party. It's going to be a big party. So we'll see. We might go to Vegas or we might stay here. I don't know. We'll do something. We'll do something big, right? And I'll include you guys in on it. I'll live stream that too. Why not, right? So I think we're at the end of it here, at the end of the show. Any other last moment comments here? I'm going to say, love you, Mom, in the chat here. And then love your mothers, right? Be a mother lover. Oh, that was one of the best videos they ever did on SNL. That one in the box one. Okay, you guys. I think we'll call it. What do you say? Any last moment? Happy Mother's Day, right? Let's all put in the Happy Mom's Day out there, you guys. Let's put that in the chat, everybody. Happy Mother's Day, right? Happy Mother's Day. Oops, got to spell mother right. Mothers with the asterisk. The asterisk. There it is. Celebrate your moms. That's right. There you go. Yeah, that would be an idea, right? The only problem with that is shipping that. It's expensive. So normally when I do shipping of things, it's around $5 to $10 to ship something to somebody. So even if I just did pics like some people do, that would be cheap. It's a stamp and you throw it in an envelope. But I do giveaways where I give away really stuff, you know. People get some cool stuff, all kinds of NAM swag, and sometimes it ends up in one of them soft packages. For the most part, that's the cheaper way to send it. I use stamps.com. Thank you to Ron Gunner telling me about that. Hey, and Amanda Peters. Rob and I are in Vegas waiting. Oh, so cool. Amanda Peters and her beau, Rob, Rob Pierce, by the way, check out that guy's Instagram and whatnot. He's been doing some awesome stuff. They're about to meet up with Michael Anthony. That's so cool. So cool. Oops, cool. I put cool S instead of cool and exclamation point. So yeah, man. Sammy's awesome, dude. What Sammy's doing right now, and it's so great that they were able to visit the Sammy show, the BOA show, right over there in Vegas. I'd love to go to see that one too, because I want to hear them sing that one live. I want to hear them sing that new encore song, right? The new song that came to him in a Van Halen dream, right? So happy Mother's Day, everybody. I know Amanda, you know, happy Mom's Day. I don't want to say that to her. She's not a mom yet, but she will be. Have a great time. Wish I was there. I wish I was everywhere all at once, just like that movie. Everything all at once. My wife always says to me, "You want to do everything all at once?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's not enough places and time and stuff, you know, to do everything. I want to do it all. Who doesn't, right? Anyway, yeah. So happy Mom's Day. Shipped my 2 kit guitars to Tillman on Friday for the stainless steel plec job. Hope they do a good job. Looking forward to it. Right on, dude. I always wonder, if you really know how to like do your own guitar work, do you really need a plec job? Does it make that much of a difference, or can you do it yourself? I'm curious how much better it's going to be, if at all better. I know the last one you sent to them, you said, oh, when it came back, yeah, better. But I wonder if like doing your own work on it yourself, you know, when it comes to kit guitars, a lot of the ones you're doing, are they set neck guitars that you have to glue in and everything. So that kind of stuff, all that matters, the environment, the glue, the everything, But you've done a wonderful job. Check out L&M Guitar Corner, you guys, by the way. Yeah, check out his shows. They do some great stuff on builds and whatnot. And yeah, really proud of where your guys' channel has grown to. It's super awesome. Yeah, arriving late, no worries, Glenn. Happy Mom's Day to all. Better late, obviously. It's always better late than never. Never forget that mucho importante like button. And on your way out, hit that if you guys don't mind. Okay, very cool. Interesting. It does not, but the chance is much higher that it's getting really good. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it's worth like that $100 or whatever, right? Yeah. Right on. Thank you. They announced it in maybe a week or two ago, but it didn't promote it. Oh, okay. Super cool. Wow. Interesting. Right on. Well, Amanda, have a great time there. Uncle Raymond, say hi to your niece. She's out in Vegas right now. I wonder what they're going to have in Vegas around my birthday next year. This year, there are some cool shows right around my birthday, so I'm thinking of trying to find a way to go catch a show. Actually, next week, I think, this coming week, if I get a chance to catch the Jack White show, he's going to be in the area, right? Let's look that up, and then we'll end the show. Jack White show in San Francisco. I think he's going to be playing on the 16th. Let me see, which I think is a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. Yeah, at the Fox. Okay, they added one. So they got a Fox Theater in Oakland, and then they have the Masonic. I'd go to the Fox Theater show all day long. I've never been to a show at the Masonic, though. So that's going to be on Saturday next week, on the 17th. May 16th is my Uncle Joe's birthday. He passed away with an aneurysm on a job site. So that was horrific because it just, wow, nobody expected that. And it was a very traumatic time in all of our lives. So I probably wouldn't go to that show on that night. So I might go, I might try to see if Johnny Bean, you want to go to that show? Somebody else? Let's go check out Jack White at the Masonic in San Francisco if there are any tickets left. And click on it. StubHub. Sometimes you get lucky. 2 tickets. Continue. Let's see. Yeah, they're pretty pricey. Even the upper balcony is like $176 each. But that includes the fees. And then there's a box. There's a box seat one, which is like $180 each. I want to see the view. See, I remember back in the day they used to have, like, you could see what the view's like. Okay, now StubHub does show most of them. But, yeah, I mean, they're pretty expensive. Box row view, yeah. I think if I was going to go, I'd go for this upper section, row 10 in the balcony. It's it's in the balcony, but it's not that bad. Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. I've been to the Oakland one, to the Fox Theater for a lot of events. But you could get floor tickets for $160 and just is that general admission? Let's see. What does it say? It's amazing. It says as an amazing price. Let's see. What does it say? Does it give you more info? You have 10 minutes to purchase. Okay, start. Why do you think I'm here? High demand. It says section is the floor. And you want to get there early so you can get right up to the front. So I'd probably go for that because that's actually the cheapest ticket, which is kind of funny. And just work your way to the front, man. Just get to the Fox or the Masonic on time. On a Saturday, that's not a problem, right? So who else is interested in who lives in my area? Let me know. Let's go to that show together. I think I'm going to go to that. I'd like to see Jack White play live. The guy's pretty awesome. All right, so thank you. I appreciate you, Martin. Martin is one of the coolest dudes you will ever get to, call friend. Really. If you get to call Martin your friend, man, you're a lucky guy. All right, happy. Oh, she's texting you about it too, Raven. Yeah, that's so awesome, right? So have a happy Mother's Day, you guys. Treat your mom right. Flowers or whatever she likes. You know, get her what she wants. She wants you to bring her a pack of smokes. One day a year, maybe you can break out the pack of smokes and say, "Okay, here, mom, have a pack of smokes." My grandfather would get a carton of cigarettes from his wife once a year on his birthday because that's the only time she would ever buy him cigarettes. Only on his birthday. Anyway, but yeah, man, have a great day, you guys. All right, so we're gonna call it. Thank you very much for joining. I'm gonna end on the cool sounds of this. Counting down to the end of the show this time. Have a great rest of your Mother's Day Sunday, and love you guys. Love you all. Spread some more love out there. Do what your mom says, right? That's gonna be it. Have a great Sunday. Take care.